Okay, so बच्चा पार्टी we will continue with the conservation of plants and animals. तो ये देखिए आपका एक we yesterday studied that there is something called as red data book. Now what happens in a red data book? Red data book is actually a book that stores all the information of species which are endangered, species which are going to go extinct in some amount of time if we are not taking due care of them. Okay, so red data book is basically a book that is there to ensure that we are alert about certain species of flora and fauna, so that we take the necessary steps in order to ensure that they are not going extinct and we don't lose them. Okay, so it highlights. Okay, so red data book. And the second thing that we are going to study is migration. See, in nature there are changes that happen, and in order to accommodate these changes, see, let's say right now changes are happening in your life. For example, there is too much of rain, okay, but you live in a house, so there is nothing to worry about. Too much of rain, or maybe let's say too much of wind, so you have nothing to worry about because you have a safe house in which you can reside. Okay, but animals are open to the environment, they do not have a safe house. So whenever something happens in nature, they generally have to shift themselves. Okay, this temporary phase of shifting is known as migration. I don't know how many of you actually watch Discovery or National Geographic, like channels like this. So in that it shows that whales basically in Pacific migrate for thousands of kilometers. Okay, because when it is a snowfall, whales are basically mammals. Okay, mammals means what? They actually breathe. Okay, so whales are mammals, they breathe, they do not have gills to breathe. So they have to constantly come above the surface of water. Okay, इनको बार-बार ऐसे ऊपर आना पड़ेगा because they breathe through their lungs, they do not breathe through gills. Fishes that breathe through their gills can stay underwater, but fishes like whales have to come on the surface of water time and again. So they will have to come on the surface of water like this. So when they're coming on the surface of water, and let's say the water surface is entirely clogged with let's say snow, okay, ice, snow, so they will not be able to come. So in that case, when they notice or when they feel that the water surfaces are going colder, they have to shift themselves, and this is called migration. They move for thousands of kilometers in order to go to warm waters where they can relocate themselves for a certain amount of time before they come back here. So this happens every year. नहीं, स्नो का सरफेस क्या है? 2-3 सेंटीमीटर का थोड़ी ना सरफेस होता है, इतना बड़ा सरफेस होता है. एंड व्हेन यू आर ट्राइंग टू ब्रीथ और वो ऊपर आने की कोशिश कर रहे हो आप, तो तोड़ तो आप तब होंगे ना जब आपको सांस मिल रही हो. ओके, यू डू नॉट हैव एनफ ऑफ ऑक्सीजन टू सर्वाइव. हाउ कैन यू एक्चुअली सी if I happen to block your nose and I tell you to run, will you be able to run? No, because you are performing an exercise which needs all the more oxygen. Okay, so that is not possible for them. So that's the reason they have to move for such a huge. So migration happens in sea animals, migration happens in plants, migration happens in birds. A lot of birds migrate for some amount of time to different nations, different countries, because that climate basically suits them. Okay, so this is called migration. So we'll study about these two things in conservation. So what is the red data book? The red data book, IUCN, we have studied a little part of this yesterday. So what is IUCN? International Union for the Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. So maintains an international list of animals and plants whose continued existence is threatened. So they basically maintain a book. This red data book actually has all those data for animals and plants which are on the verge of extinction, which are being declared as endangered, and if we don't happen to take due care, we are going to lose them sooner or later. Okay, so the red book, rare and endangered species of animals and plants, they continuously every year they keep on listing. Okay, so the list becomes higher and higher. Red data book is a source book which keeps a record of all the endangered animals and plants. These are basically endangered animals and plants, and the reason why they are being termed as endangered is because we are on the verge of losing them. Okay, so there are a lot of animals. There are different red data books for plants, animals and other species. So plants and fungi, we have a red data book. For animals, we have a red data book. For natural habitats, we have a red data book. Okay, So natural habitats which are going extinct. Okay, so let's say a lot of swampy areas was there in New Bombay, which has been covered and buildings have been made. So these natural habitats or organisms which were dependent on these habitats have gone extinct. Okay, so then we have animals which are on the verge of extinction. Then we have plants and fungi which are on the verge of extinction. Okay, so migration is the periodic movement. What is migration? Periodic movement of a species. Periodic means it happens every year. It happens every year or within a couple of months. Okay, so it will be something that happens regularly on a regular basis. Okay, so periodic movement of a species of animals or birds from the place where it has been living to a new area and its subsequent return journey to the original home. So it moves from one place to another for some time, it stays there and then again comes back to its native place. Okay, the reason why this happens is because either the native place, in the native place the climate is going to change, or there are not enough of resources in the native place for them to sustain themselves. For example, in African forest, at times these are dry regions, so animals tend to move towards regions which have more water. Okay, so that keeps on happening. Again, when there are rains, they are back to their native place. So this migration keeps on happening. Migration is both ways. One, moving from your native place to a different place for certain reasons and then again coming back to the same place. Okay, so this will keep on happening where it has been living for and its subsequent return journey to the original home. Okay, so this is called migration. So birds migrate in huge numbers. Okay, see, why does this happen? Because you know the equator has a certain type of climate, these regions have a certain type of climate. Okay, so obviously the earth is continuously revolving around the sun, and because of this revolution, what is happening is it is continuously the temperatures and the climate is changing. So the temperatures which are conducive now will not be so in a certain amount of time, so they are going to change. So then they have to move and adjust themselves in some. अरे लौटने की क्यों नहीं जरूरत है, क्योंकि see, when they are migrating to a different place at that particular time, that place has a different climate. But again, so they are in A, that is their native place. For certain changes in the climate which happens, let's say rainy season or let's say snowy season. Okay, so winter season or rainy season is a little harsh, so they will move to a place B. Now B has comparatively warmer climate. Okay, but again the climate in B is not going to remain the same. Okay, so they will move back to their native place. That is one thing. Okay, so they will not relocate. See, relocation is a different thing and migration is a different thing. Relocation means that the species have relocated themselves permanently to a different place, but migration means that they are moving back and forth. Okay, they will move for a certain amount of time, which is a temporary adjustment, and then again they will move back to their native place. That is called migration. Okay, relocation is an absolutely different. Subsequent return journey to the original home. So temperatures change, so again they will have a return journey. Okay, so birds who cover long distances to reach another land are known as migratory birds. So these are basically migratory birds and they cover huge distances, very long distances to reach to a different land for survival. In order to survive, they have to reach to a different land. Okay, so all these are basically different transitions, different types of birds. These are basically their biological names. Okay, so these keep on going from one place. So these, see, look at this. If I take the blue one, where is the blue one? Okay, this is the one. Okay, see the transition from here to here. If I take the red one, see the transition from here to here, how long they are traveling. Okay, see the transition from here to here. Okay, so this is northern waiter, this is Arctic tern, amu falcon, short tail, shearwater, ruff, Swanison's hawk. All these are basically different types of birds. Okay, and look at the amount of journey that they undertake in order to migrate for a certain amount of time. Again they are back in their native place. Okay, so that is how the entire migration happens. Okay, when animals and birds migrate, it is usually to find abundant food and a favorable place to breed. So then they migrate to different places in order to find, see, what is required first of all to sustain life? Food. So obviously, let's say there was a grassland out here and it is a dry season because of which the grasses have dried. So will the deer stay there? No, they will move. If the deers are not staying there, which happen to be prey for predators like lions and tigers or cheetahs, will they stay there? Obviously not. So they will also move. So the entire clan moves. Okay, the entire clan moves. When animals and birds migrate, it is usually to find abundant food. Abundant means a lot of food. Okay, lot of food and favorable place to breed, so that they can multiply, they can breed, they can reproduce. So they will always do this in order to find an abundant place where they can breed, where they can find enough of food and resources to sustain their lives for a temporary period of time. Okay, migratory birds fly to far off areas every year during a particular time because of climate changes. So climate changes happen throughout the world. Earth is continuously undergoing rotation as well as revolution. So due to these, there will be climate changes, and when there are climate changes, obviously these birds will move. Okay, so these are certain birds that move all around the world. They keep on migrating. Okay, they fly for laying eggs as the weather in their natural habitat becomes very cold and inhospitable. So why? Because when they have to lay their eggs, they need a certain amount of temperature for the incubation period. You understand what is incubation? Because eggs are laid. The moment the eggs are laid, they don't hatch. They will take some time before they hatch. Okay, but the climatic conditions surrounding them have become very severe, severely cold. In order to avoid this, they move from place to place. So they fly for laying eggs. They fly for laying eggs as the weather in their natural habitat becomes very cold and inhospitable. Inhospitable means what? Cannot survive there. Inhospitable means they cannot survive here. Okay, so they will have to move for a temporary period of time to lay their eggs, bring up their young ones, and again then move back. Okay, so this has become very cold for survival. The precise methods by which animals navigate and know where to go are still obscure. अभी तक साइंटिस्ट लोगों को समझ में नहीं आता है कि हाउ डू दे नो. ठीक है, if you have to move to a certain place, you use so many things, GPS and what not. You inquire so much, how do I go there? You will ask certain, let's say you are going to a certain place, to somebody's house, you will ask a neighborhood man who is traveling, bhai ye kahan milega, hai na? So you are constantly on moving, and you are constantly asking people, you are constantly navigating GPS ye wo. Iske baad bhi we are not able to successfully find places wherein we need to reach. But there is some sense in animals and birds. Okay, they can sense it through nature, where to go, where to fly. Every year they will follow a particular route and fly to a certain place, and they will reach there. Okay, without fail they will reach there. So nature has a very strange combination out here. Obscure means we are still not able to understand. How do they know this path? How are they able to travel? See, if I tell you, let's say I will take you to a place in Vashi today. Okay, today I take you there and I come back. Will you remember everything about each and every path, all the shops out there? Will you reach tomorrow? Maybe you will be able to reach, but you will also get confused. Okay, but every year these birds in huge numbers are flying off without any deviation. It's if they have to reach here, they will not travel like this. They will definitely reach here. Okay, that's something that is still not understood by most of the biological scientists. How birds, how whales, how the migratory animals actually find out their destination. How they are able to travel along the same path and reach the same spot year on year. Okay, the precise methods by which animals navigate and know where to go are still obscure. It is still obscure. It is still not understood. It is still not explainable. Okay. Birds have much sharper eyesight and better visual memory on ground clues than humans, and that's the reason they are said that birds have a sharper eyesight and they have better understanding of maps. Although they do not follow maps like us, but they have better understanding of routes than humans. Okay, obviously, because humans, after so much of information, still we are not able to successfully locate places. Many a times you book an Ola and the Ola driver is like, "Kahan hai sir? Building nahi mil rahi hai, ye hai, wo hai." ठीक है? You will see people, अरे इधर से turn मारो, उधर से turn मारो, ये वो. Okay, there's so much. there's so many people who will ask you, आप रास्ते में चलते जाएंगे, ये बिल्डिंग कहाँ है, वो बिल्डिंग कहाँ है, ऐसा पूछेंगे, ठीक है. हमको इतनी सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन होने के बाद भी we are not able to locate places, and these birds without any GPS, without anything, they are able to locate their destinations. So they have sharper intelligence in terms of locating places, sharper than humans. In olden days, kings used to use them as messengers. They used to tie a message and they used to send them. They will find out where to reach. Okay, so many a times pigeons were primarily used. So उनके टांगों में वो चिट्ठी बांध दी जाती थी, and they used to fly off. Okay, so birds have sharper eyesight and better visual memory of ground clues than humans. So they have better eyesight as well as they understand the ground rules better than humans. Now see, there is one advantage, because when you go to a height, obviously you have a better view of the land, so you are able to locate where to reach. Okay, being on land, you will not know what is beyond this building, but a bird will know what is beyond this building. So that is that advantage that they have. Okay, in long distance flights, they appear to navigate with the help of the sun and the stars. So it's said that they look at the stars positions and sun, they are the ones that guide them. So looking at the stars, okay, we generally move this way, or we generally move this way, or we generally move that way. That's how they locate their destinations. Okay, so it's a clue that they get from nature. They are not aware of what is north, south, east, west as we do, but they are somehow able to locate all this by their movements and their clues that they get from the suns and the stars. Okay, are we clear on this one? Okay, so in long distance flights, and possibly in combination with a reading of Earth's magnetic field. So Earth's magnetic field is a complex thing. Okay, so Earth has got a magnetic field, and somehow they are able to sense it. See, in your mobile also you will have an app or cell phone wherein when you are visiting a place, you can point it out where is north, south, east, west. This happens because there are magnetic fields inside the Earth's surface, and because of these magnetic fields you are able to locate. Okay, so these are things that are there. Okay, so this is achieved through an inbuilt magnetic compass. There's an inbuilt magnetic compass, as if there is a magnetic compass installed. See, when you rotate a magnetic compass and leave it, so let's say this is a magnetic compass, आपने इसको घुमा के अगर छोड़ दिया, so it will always point in the north south direction, and that's one of the reasons why birds are able to find out where to go. Okay, they seem to have an inbuilt magnetic compass, which is a tiny mass of tissue between the eye and the brain in the birds. So there is something which is already installed in birds, which basically helps them to navigate and find out their destinations. Okay, okay, now paper is something that we use very much, especially in India. Okay, if you go to America, let's say you are in 8th standard, so you will pass out and you will move to the 9th standard next year. So in America, what happens is the books that you are using now will actually be given to the next standard. So they don't purchase books. Okay, every year students are not purchasing any kind of books. Okay, the books are basically again given to the next set of students, and then again to the next set of students. That's how the things happen. So they are saving on huge amount of paper. Okay, any which ways the world is going into a paperless environment. Most of the banks and financial institutions wherein paper was heavily used are going into a paperless environment. Now records are kept in computers, pen drives, and so many things are there which can actually avoid the usage of heavy paper. Okay, so the more we are conscious about it, the lesser we use the paper, the lesser will be the trees that will be cut, and the lesser will be the deforestation, because at the end of the day, deforestation is an impact which is having severe consequences on human beings, animals, birds, everyone. Okay, so in order to, so one thing which we heavily consume is basically paper, and this can be avoided by a little amount of intelligence. Okay, so first of all, ये जो आप रद्दी वालों को बुलाते हैं, पेपर देते हैं, ठीक है, ये अच्छी बात है, ठीक है, because you are basically, ये लोग कर देंगे क्या इसका, ये लोग इसको रिसाइकलिंग में डालेंगे. सो द न्यूज़पेपर्स दैट यू सी आर ऑल रिसाइकल्ड पेपर. योर एनसीईआरटी बुक्स आर मेड अप ऑफ रिसाइकल्ड पेपर. Government is taking these initiatives. Why do you think NCERT books are so cheap in price? Although the masala in them is very good. If you actually look at it, the knowledge is very good, but NCERT books are relatively cheaper than your reference books. Why? Because they are made up of recycled paper. सो गवर्नमेंट इज प्रोमोटिंग देम, गवर्नमेंट इज, रेफरेंस बुक में तो कुछ बोल नहीं सकती क्योंकि प्राइवेट वाले पब्लिश कर रहे हैं उसको, लेकिन गवर्नमेंट जो अपनी खुद की जो पब्लिकेशंस हैं उसमें रिसाइकिल पेपर का यूज़ कर सकती है, यूज़ होना ही चाहिए। आप डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज की बात करें, मोस्ट ऑफ द डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज टुडे आर नॉट यूजिंग पेपर एट ऑल, मोस्ट ऑफ द डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज, दैट्स हाउ दे आर सेविंग ऑन देयर नेचर। मोस्ट ऑफ द वी आर यूजिंग हैवी पेपर। लेट्स से इफ यू वॉक अप टू अ पुलिस स्टेशन, आप देखेंगे फाइल 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 फाइल, इतना फाइल है, ठीक है। जरूरत नहीं है भाई साहब, आज की तारीख में कंप्यूटर में इतना इंफॉर्मेशन स्टोर हो सकता है, इस एक पूरे रूम में इफ आई फिल अप विथ फाइल्स, इट कैन बी स्टोर्ड इन वन कंप्यूटर इटसेल्फ और वन पेन ड्राइव, इतना इंफॉर्मेशन स्टोर हो सकता है। सो वी आर नॉट टेकिंग दीज एडवांटेजेस, ओके। सो पेपरलेस एनवायरमेंट इज समथिंग दैट शुड बी प्रोमोटेड, okay, but again we are so addicted to it, remaking it into new paper products. I know a person who is actually doing his MBBS from basically he is a doctor right now, he has completed his 4 years, he was in RAT, he was a topper, इसका फोटो भी लगा हुआ है बाहर, he was my student। तो कोरोना के टाइम पे 11th और 12th दोनों में भी उसने एक बुक नहीं खरीदी, he didn't purchase even one single book, okay, एंड सिर्फ ऑनलाइन से पढ़ के उन्होंने 98% लाया था, 98% इन 12th स्टैंडर्ड। ही क्रैक्ट बोथ, इसका 10th में भी था, 10th में तो खैर हमारा क्लासेस चल रहा था, 11th और 12th में मेरे पास पढ़ रहा था और ऑनलाइन पढ़ रहा था, लेकिन उसने कोई बुक नहीं खरीदी, वो सिर्फ ऑनलाइन, क्योंकि आपके महाराष्ट्र ई बुक जो लाइब्रेरी होती है, हैव यू एवर गॉन टू ई बुक लाइब्रेरी? नहीं, बस बुक मिल रहा है, बस आप फटाफट पढ़े। एनसीईआरटी में कभी आप ऑनलाइन गए हैं? नहीं। पेपरलेस एनवायरनमेंट आपके पास है, ऑप्शन है, आप मोबाइल में फालतू चीज़ों को ढूंढते हुए जाते हैं, बट ये नहीं करते हैं। सोचिए इस चीज़ को, सारे जितने भी आपके एजुकेशनल बोर्ड्स हैं, मैंडेटरीली दे हैव पोस्टेड और हैव अपलोडेड ऑल देयर कंटेंट ऑनलाइन, चाहे महाराष्ट्र स्टेट बोर्ड हो, चाहे आपका सीबीएसई हो, चाहे एनसीईआरटी हो। दिस गाय ही स्कोर्ड 98% इन 12th स्टैंडर्ड टेकिंग साइंस, एंड सरप्राइजिंगली ही हैडंट परचेज इवन वन सिंगल बुक, ना ही बुक ना ही नोटबुक, उसने सब कुछ भाई साहब वहाँ से पढ़ के किया। सो इफ देर इज अ विल देर इज अ वे, यू वॉन्ट टू सेव ऑन पेपर, डेफिनेटली यू विल। आई हैव सीन सो मेनी पीपल यूजिंग पेपर लाइक एनीथिंग, ओके। सो प्लीज हैव अ कॉन्शियस एफर्ट कि यू आर कटिंग डाउन ऑन ट्रीज, ओके। सो रीमेकिंग इनटू, सो वन थिंग इज दैट दिस रिसाइकल जो रद्दी पेपर आता है, इसको जो हम फेंक देते हैं, इसको प्लीज रद्दी वाले को दीजिए, ठीक है। रद्दी वाले आपको जितना भी दे, ठीक है, आप लोग बोलेंगे अरे 13 रुपये दे रहा है, ये 15 रुपये दे रहा है, ये तो 10 रुपये दे रहा है, छोड़ो हटाओ फेंक देते हैं ऐसे ही। नहीं, प्लीज़ दे दीजिए उसको, बिकॉज दे आर द वंस हु विल रिसाइकिल इट। वो रिसाइकिल करेंगे तो उसका कुछ और यूज़ होगा, वरना पड़ा पड़ा बेकार हो जाएगा, ठीक है। सो और फिर और ज़्यादा रिक्वायरमेंट होगी। सो आज की तारीख में बैंक्स में ये बोल दिया गया है कि प्लीज़ आप मूव ऑन टू अ पेपरलेस एनवायरनमेंट। आप अगर किसी यूएस कंपनी के लिए काम कर रहे होंगे ना, दे विल ऑलवेज प्रेफर टू यू मूविंग इन अ पेपरलेस एनवायरनमेंट। ऑल अकाउंट्स एंड इन पे कुछ जरूरत ही नहीं है पेपर की, यू डोंट नीड पेपर। फॉर एग्जाम्पल बैंक का पासबुक आप लोगों ने सबने देखा रहेगा, राइट? यू मस्ट हैव सीन अ बैंक पासबुक। व्हाट डज इट कंटेन? और द डिटेल्स ऑफ ऑल योर ट्रांजैक्शंस, बट टू इन टूडेज डेट यू डोंट रिक्वायर इट, बिकॉज ऑनलाइन स्टेटमेंट्स आपको आते हैं, यू कैन चेक दैट, ओके। तो दीज आर, आपका ऑनलाइन ऐप है, उसमें आप जाकर देख सकते हैं। सो टुडे इन टूडेज डे द पेपरलेस, आज की तारीख में सोचिए, द हैवी पेपर कंजम्पशन वॉज बाई RBI टू प्रिंट नोट्स, but this is going down right now because most of us are doing online payments. We don't need to carry cash. I am telling you, within 10 years maybe there will be no wallets that you need to carry, everything will go online, and that is good, okay. That is one way, because we have this internet advantage, because we have this technical advantage, we should use it to the best of our things, okay. So paper suitable for recycling is called scrap paper. So this is basically scrap paper. It is specially suitable for recycling. And this scrap paper today, 90% of paper pulp is made up of wood. Now this is dangerous, okay. Paper pulp is basically made up of wood. There are so many trees that are being cut, okay, to make paper pulp, and we can, especially it takes 17 full grown trees to make 1 ton of paper. 1 ton of paper से आपका एक 8 स्टैंडर्ड के सेक्शन का सारे बुक्स प्रिंट होंगे। तो आप समझ लीजिए 17 ट्रीज चले गए एक स्टैंडर्ड सेक्शन में, बोल रहा हूँ। लेट्स से आपके स्कूल में एक सेक्शन होगा 8 का, ABCD ऐसा होगा। 8 का एक सेक्शन जो है उसको अगर मैं बुक्स को प्रिंट कराऊं तो 17 ट्रीज को काटने पड़ेंगे। सोचिए 17 फुल ग्रोन ट्रीज, नॉट इवन द टाइनी वंस, एकदम फुल ग्रोन ट्रीज को कट करके तब जाके उससे जितना पेपर निकलेगा, 1 टन ऑफ पेपर, उससे आपका भाई साहब सारी किताबें बनेंगी। So it's a huge amount of thing that we are doing, okay. So that is सो पेपर प्रोडक्शन अकाउंट्स फॉर अबाउट 35%. सो हमारा जो डिफॉरेस्टेशन हो रहा है इसमें पेपर प्रोडक्शन इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर 35%. एंड इंडिया में इस चीज को हम सोच ही नहीं रहे हैं. बाकी सब कंट्रीज ने इसके बारे में सोचकर इंप्लीमेंट भी कर दिया है. दे आर एब्सोल्युटली ऑन एन ऑनलाइन मोड. दे डोंट वांट थिंग्स टू बी printed in paper. They don't want that to happen. They are saving on their trees. We are continuously cutting down on trees. Imagine the requirements. There are so many students. There are so many books that you are printing. There are so many notebooks that you are printing. Okay, at the cost of what? At the cost of deforestation. Okay, so that is one thing. Recycling of newsprint saves a lot of wood. So ये newsprint है आपका basically जो newspaper होता है. You have seen newspapers, right? They are not that great in quality. Okay, the reason why they're not that great in quality because they are made up of recycled paper. Your NCERT books are also made up of recycled paper. Okay, so this is something that we can definitely avoid. The amount of harmful chemicals used in paper making will also be reduced. There's so many chemicals that are used. And where are these chemicals dumped into? Obviously the soil, the atmosphere. Okay, so this again gets into the atmosphere and creates pollution. So not only the cutting of trees is a disaster for us for paper production, but the chemicals that are used, they are also causing environmental degradation. And all of this can be avoided if we are a little careful about things. Okay, reforestation is also referred to afforestation. Afforestation means what? In a dry land which has basically losing trees, a lot of trees have gone. There are certain NGOs, there are certain people who are taking initiatives in order to rebuild them again, the entire ecological balance. Okay, so that is called reforestation. It is the process of restoring and recreating areas of forest. It is being said that in India 135 crores is approximately our population. Even if during your entire lifetime you are planting one tree, we are going to go green, absolute green. Okay, it is enough. Everybody, if everybody of us takes an initiative of planting one tree and takes care till it actually grows up. You don't have to take care of it when it grows up. It takes care of its own. You just have to ensure that you are giving adequate amount of water and taking care of it in the initial stages. Once it grows up, you don't have to take care of it. Okay, so in India, if you happen to, if everybody is planting one tree, we are going to go green, absolute green. There will be no problems that are caused by deforestation. This entire thing will be taken care of. Okay, but we hardly think about these things. Reforestation is also referred to as afforestation. So this is also referred to as afforestation. It is a process of restoring and recreating areas of forest. So again, these forest areas to be recreated. Okay, these forests once existed but have been deforested or otherwise removed or destroyed. For some reasons or the other, there were dense forests at one point of time, but due to our excessive consumption and irrational deforestation, they have been reduced. So we can make attempts to again restore them to their original glory. While selecting the plants for reforestation, one should be careful that the same species of plants should be selected that were at the respective areas earlier. Okay, so the same species of plants should be selected. Okay, because if a plant is actually becoming a tree and it is becoming a forest, so obviously the environment is supporting it. So we should be selecting the same species of plants in order to regrow it. Okay, because plants grow efficiently in their original habitat. All plants will grow efficiently in their original habitat. Okay, so reforestation, this promotes the rapid reestablishment of both flora and fauna in a forest. So if you are again reforestation or deforestation, just as cutting down of forest is known as deforestation, re-establishing them again will be known as reforestation or afforestation. Okay, so if the forests are restored once again, the animals will be back. Okay, the animals which we had lost will be back to their original habitat. Okay, so reforestation can take place naturally also. If the deforested area is left undisturbed, it will re-establish itself. Now sometimes you have to plant trees in order to make attempts for reforestation or afforestation. Sometimes you don't even have to do that. Okay, so let's say if there was an area, okay, so let's say if there was an area, this is an area here where maximum deforestation has happened, we have cut down on trees. Okay, now one way is to again plant the trees. If you don't want to do that, leave this place, don't do anything in this place. अपने आप भाई साहब वो जंगल बन जाएगा. in no time it will basically become a jungle again. Just leave it, nature will heal itself. Okay, but we are not even ready to do that. The moment we say the jungle coming up again we chop down these trees. Okay, so this is something that has happened. So if the deforested area is left undisturbed, even if we don't do anything from our end and leave the deforested area undisturbed for a certain amount of time, nature will re-establish itself and again it will be afforestation. Again forests will come up, but we do not have that much of patience. Okay, in natural reforestation there is no role of human beings. You don't even have to play any role out there. You don't have to labor. Okay, अपने आप ये establish हो जाएगा. But still we do not have the patience and we keep on doing a deforestation at regular intervals. The Forest Conservation Act of 1980 is one of the most effective legislations contributing to reduction in deforestation. So 1980 में Government of India had passed an act which is the Forest Conservation Act. One of the most effective legislations. All the areas which have been marked as forest areas or sanctuaries, they cannot be used for any kind of mining purposes. They cannot be used for any kind of building up of homes or agriculture or anything. Okay, so they will be left as it is. This act is aimed at preservation and conservation of natural forest. Okay, so meeting the basic needs of the people living in or near the forest. So obviously people who live, okay, meeting the basic needs, preservation and conservation of natural forest, meeting the basic needs of the people that are living. So let's say catching of fish or getting some masalas, these are things that they can do. Okay, so that is how the entire nature has to be conserved, Bachcha Party, and this basically completes the chapter. Any questions you have on this one? No? Okay, बहुत बढ़िया भाई साहब.